You've built the website, it looks great on mobile, it converts like gangbusters. Now what? Where is everybody? The build it and they will come age is long since past. You've got to get traffic to the website where they can be converted. But you can't take a passive approach because if you want your business to be successful, you've got to go put yourself in front of the right people. And the right people are those who are ready to buy what it is that you're selling. If you are a plumber, you want somebody with a busted pipe that is actively flooding the kitchen. And if they don't call you, then the entire value of their home is destroyed. That is a very urgent problem, and they are proactively searching for you as the solution. But you need to be found. Where are they going to look for you? Well, they're going to go to Google. The fastest way to get traffic from Google to your website is to pay Google to send them there. And the way to do that is called PPC, pay per click. You have to pay Google every time somebody clicks over to your website. And that is a form of paid advertising. Um, it's commonly called PPC, but PPC is a very big umbrella because there are a lot of different elements that technically fall into PPC. One edge case is if you wanted to run ads on YouTube, some of those pre-roll ads that are 6 seconds long or whatever, that's technically a PPC campaign because you're paying Google to run your ad. It's the same back end, but you don't need to worry about that right now. PPC is basically the idea that when somebody uses this search phrase, then you show up with your ad. You probably don't even see them anymore because most people ignore them. They're just completely attention blind to it. It's those top results that are very clearly marked ad right next to them. They can be shopping ads, they can be text based ads, just straight up headline, one sentence under it, and then maybe a link or some kind of extra information like that. There are people that are paying Google every time you search for that ideal search phrase. They've told Google, hey, I'm willing to pay you 50 cents anytime somebody clicks or searches if they click on my ad. And that's where the idea of pay per click comes from. Um, and there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes that makes that work because PPC, think of it like going out to dinner for, or like to a restaurant for dinner tonight. You know it's going to be fast, it's going to be great, but it's going to be expensive. And it's because you have to pay for every single click. What you're really doing is identifying the people who are most likely to buy from me are looking on Google using these terms. I need a plumber now. Best plumber near me, best rated plumber. Whatever those phrases are, those are called keywords. So, what keywords are people using to solve their problem that you solve? So, those are the phrases that you want to compete for, and you are competing. You aren't just dealing with Google, you're also dealing with everybody else who wants to deal with Google. So if you're that plumber and you've got five other plumbers in your neck of the woods, well, you're now in a bidding war. And that all happens in your control panel when you set up your ads and all that kind of stuff. You've told Google, I'm willing to spend up to $10 per click. And if you were an HVAC or air conditioning or an electrician or a roofer, you could easily be spending $80 per click That's not even saying that you know that that person going to your website is going to call you. But just to get them from that Google search result over to your website to click on your ad is going to cost you $80 every time somebody clicks on that. So it really depends on your industry, and not just your industry, but what your competition is spending with Google that dictates your ante in order to just sit down at the table. You don't have to beat your competition by much. And Google, when somebody searches plumber near me, that kicks off a bidding war. Google goes, all right, how many plumbers or how many accounts are bidding on this search phrase? I see that it is these 5 accounts. And of these 5 accounts, who's got the second highest bid? Say it's $5 that they've authorized. I will spend up to $5. Then the person who's authorized up to $10 doesn't have to pay $10. They pay $5 1 cent for top position, then $5 for the second position, right? So it's a really fast bidding war based on what you've told Google it can spend on your behalf in order to have your ad shown. Then, once it's shown, you pay when somebody clicks on that ad to visit your website. There are different ways to set up the bidding. You can say it's pay per impression. You just want to be visible. It's usually going to cost you less, but it's going to be for more eyeballs and brand recognition, but it's usually going to be fewer people clicking on it. All right, so that's kind of the algebra problem is visibility or qualified traffic for exactly the right phrases. Those are going to be more valuable and worthwhile. So they're going to charge you more as a consequence. So the paid ads can take all sorts of different shapes. Like we mentioned earlier with the Google Shopping and text based, there's another element called the display network, which is Google with Google Analytics and all the suite of services that they have. Basically, Google has back end access to all these websites, and every website wants to know how are people interacting with my site. So I'm going to install Google Analytics to understand how long somebody spends on this page, where did they go, how long did they spend there, did people bounce, did they land and then immediately leave. I need to understand all these metrics to people's behavior on my website. Well, when they install Google Analytics, that's also giving Google access to all that information. And now Google can understand you as the web like a surfer, right? Just anybody surfing the web. If they go to 15 different websites and there's analytics installed on those 15 sites, Google can see that one person's behavior on all 15 of those. And the longer that that person is online with that profile, now you've got historical data. All that information gets digested by Google to understand the behavior of people searching online. So Google's got a perspective on people's behavior that almost nobody else in the world has. It leverages that with the display network. It's a type of advertising, which is to say, me, the website owner, I know that I'm getting 50,000 visits every day to my website. All those eyeballs are really, really valuable. And now I can say to people who want to be in front of my audience because I'm really just that great, and all these advertisers really want to be in front of my audience. So I've told Google, "Hey, I'm willing to show ads from people who are relevant to my industry. So I don't want to show ads of any of this stuff, just these topics that my audience is interested in. Therefore, it's still relevant and useful to my visitors." So now I've installed a plugin on the back end of my website, and it automatically will talk to Google, and Google goes, "Okay, guys, who wants to bid on these ads on this website for these details?" Google is coordinating and brokering all this stuff behind scenes. So your PPC, you can say, "I want to advertise on the Google Display Network," and that means that your ads, there should be 10 different types of ads called banner ads that are different ratios and sizes. You design all 10 of those. They're very clearly outlined what they should be, at what resolution, what size, all that stuff. Then you upload those ad elements to your advertising account. Then tell Google what kinds of websites you want to be displayed on. So now the website says, "Yep, let's show some ads." And then your banners are inserted between the third and fourth paragraph, between the seventh and eighth paragraph, and all this stuff is automated. So the website owner gets a cut of what you're paying Google because now they're kind of an affiliate of the display network. Your ads are being shown to exactly the right visitors. So that is an element of PPC that is super useful for retargeting. And we'll get into what retargeting is a little more detailed for social media, but basic idea is you want people to recognize your name, and if they visit your site, then you can follow up with just those people until they do. And that's where a lot of your conversions are going to come from. However, your display network ads are almost never going to tie directly to your conversion. That will happen on your website on a visit. They very rarely are going to click an ad to visit your website, then convert there. So it's mainly just "Oh, you visited us once, and now suddenly I'm everywhere." And then the visitor's mind, they go, "Man, these guys are everywhere. They must be fantastic. Okay, I can trust them." So that's the goal of the display network ads as part of an advertising strategy. Now, one very important detail is that, again, almost nobody clicks on ads. Of 100 people that search, 50% of them are going to do nothing. They're not going to click on anything. Of the people who are going to click on something, only 5% of those people would ever click on an ad. So that is 2.5% of all search is going to click on an ad. Everybody else is going to ignore it. That is a very small number. However, that number is not zero. So that's why you invest in PPC first to drive traffic to your website that's going to convert them where you close them into a paying customer. And that is why you have to pay to play if you want your website to be cash flow positive as quickly as possible. So that's PPC. That's a very, very broad introduction to what PPC is. If you're interested, I am PPC certified, Google AdWords certified. I can talk to you about setting up campaigns and ad sets and audiences and targeting and get into that, but that's a little kind of advanced beyond the scope of this particular course. But this is a good understanding of what PPC is, why you would use it, how to use it, and where it fits into your strategy, which is probably your first go-to if your business is something people are searching for in the first place. That's how you get found. So that's it for PPC. Next up, we're going to talk about SEO.